This is Rating Descending,
where we watch IMDb's worst 250 movies so you don't have to.
I'm Michelle St. Clair.
I'm Abigail Ward.
And this week we watched The Devil Inside. In Italy, a woman becomes involved in a series of unauthorized exorcisms during her mission to discover what happened to her mother, who allegedly murdered 3 people during her own exorcism. Let's watch.
We had an election.
Well, yeah.
What were you? Whoa.
Look.
Let's bring it back.
I want to talk about the election. You know, I love talking about a good election, right? I wanted to open up though by saying I have a correction from last week.
Oh my goodness! Thank you for opening up to me. It's so brave of you.
In particular, because it was about physics. It was incorrect about a naked singularity.
Okay.
I said it was a black hole without an accretion disk. I'm pretty sure I was right about what an accretion disk was. What I had misremembered was that a naked singularity is a black hole without an event horizon, which is the point past which you can no longer see light.
It smelled.
So that's my correction.
Who corrected you?
No, not a friend.
Not a friend? What?
I did. I corrected me.
We can cut it out if you want to.
But now this is too funny. This is way funnier.
I really thought it was. When you said not a friend, I reached a hand out to you. I thought you got bullied, you know?
I was anxious because I was like, I know our audience. I'll get corrected for sure when this releases. I'll double check. Oh my God, I was wrong. And so far, no one's corrected me. Maybe I'm...
I think you overestimate our audience. They're as dumb as I am.
Maybe our audience is more like you than they are like me.
They do smelly burps. While you talk about naked singulars.
Yeah, so we had an election.
Did we? What the heck happening?
You have made it so that my darling girlfriend Brooke just repeats that all the time.
What in the heck?
What the heck is happening?
What the heck is happening right now?
It's a
my
curse.
tagline now.
You're blighting us with a curse. If that's our first t-shirt, I quit.
What I love about Brooke, you're a girlfriend, because we all know you don't have one. No,
yeah. Sure. She lives in Canada.
What I love about Brooke is that if anyone does anything stupid, she loves it and she ends up just doing it as well, you know?
Yeah.
Like, she'll jump on a stupid train like that.
Yeah.
She'll hear like this stupid phrase and she's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with it.
It becomes like a vocal stem for her to just repeat. It's great. I love it.
Yeah. I remember Claude was like, when we lived together, I'd talk to the cats and he was like, oh, you do the Brooke voice. And I was like, Brooke does the Abby voice. They all feed off each other.
How hurtful that must have been for you.
But yeah, we've had an election.
Yeah, we had an election. Notably, because of the kind of people we are, I was like, man, I really want to get together for the election so we can watch it all together.
Yeah.
And then you were like, I want to do a bar crawl. Maybe the election will be perfect, you know? And it ended up being such a perfect blend.
It was a great night.
I said yes, only under the condition that it's okay that I badger everyone with the stats all night. But then some of our other friends joined me in badgering everyone else with the stats all night. It's great.
You could not.
Yeah.
And it was such a... I remember thinking...
Seat by seat.
I organised the bar crawl and it's one of those bar crawls where everyone came at the fairly early and like no one was really that late and we hit basically every bar that we could that was on the list. So it wasn't like a bar crawl where you sit down after like the second bar and you just kind of stay there for the rest of the night because you're fucking tired of like getting up. But I really hustled everyone to keep moving on to bar after bar. So that was great. Yeah. But also I had in the back of my mind, I was like, you know, it's a good vibe, but it could just go tits up if the election results are just devastating as they have been our entire adult lives during elections. We've never had a good result.
Yeah.
But the profound joy...
Oh my God.
That swept over us when we found out that Labor had like nabbed the election.
Labor had won. The Greens got more seats.
Yeah. Women were voted into power.
Tons of like, it was like no matter where your particular allegiances lie in terms of progressive politics,
Yeah.
you were a winner that night.
And I have to say,
all across the board.
something like really clicked into place that night for me, because I was like, you know what? We moved down to Melbourne for 2 years of a terrible, difficult pandemic.
Yeah.
And it was a dark, dark time in certain points. But that night, we got to go out on a bar crawl
Yeah.
with the pandemic behind us and a new government coming into power. And it felt really hopeful for the first time in a long time.
Genuinely, it felt really hopeful. I remember there was the moment that we found out, not just that we already knew that they were going to be out of power, but part of my fear was that even though the Liberals would be out of power, that the at the time party leader Scott Morrison, noted transphobe and religious agitator, as a way I'll phrase it quickly, would stay as the leader and try and reform the party to be more like the American Republicans. And then we found out that he had stepped down and resigned.
Yeah.
And my darling girlfriend Brooke watched me, like, I didn't think it was going to happen, but I just swelled with emotion and started like crying. And then she was like, Michelle.
No, she went, what the heck is happening? What is this? What in the heck? What is that?
This fits. Your comedic style is yes, but. That was funny. I've got one.
Mine's better.
Yeah, but what if it was actually my joke?
Hang on, Michelle. I'm just going to stop you there.
I'm going to stab you.
Excuse me.
I've got one.
Please move over. No, it was a great night, and I'm glad it didn't go belly up. We had a great result. I volunteered for the first time for Labour, and I did it for my mother-in-law to be, because she asked me to, and I said sure.
Love it.
And, you know, if I volunteered, I probably would have chosen to volunteer potentially for the Greens. I don't know. I didn't really do enough research into either party in that electorate, but I really bonded with the Greens man at the gate. So it was like me handing out Labour, him handing out Greens, and we chatted about double glazed windows for a good 2 hours.
Look, we're ideological allies. My perspective is just like whatever seat you're in is going to determine who you want to vote for.
Yeah, and what we did is that we'd stand at the gate and give posters, and we'd watch the people that would very firmly say, no thanks, walk past us and grab a Liberal flyer, and we'd be like, you can't pick them. You just can't pick them. We'd like stand there shaking our heads and chatting shit about them.
I really wanted to volunteer as someone who's both been a Greens and Labour member in my lifetime, but it was like the worst fucking 3 weeks prior that I just didn't, there was like, there's literally no time for me to do this.
Yeah.
And then when there was, I was isolating from COVID.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, you know, I think they'll let me be.
But happy election, Michelle. We're heading into a new era of history.
It really does feel like a new
hopefully
era.
A far, far brighter and better one.
It's literally been a decade of this and
Yeah.
it's changed. And I mean, look, hey, it was particularly nice because last week there were also a lot of awful reasons to be trans on the internet, between blaming school shootings on trans people, JK making more posts, John Mulaney platforming, like he invited a surprise guest, Dave Chappelle, to his show. And everyone was like, hey, that's so weird that you invited the guy who most recently is known for making a bunch of anti-trans jokes
Oh, God.
to your show. I know you're friends, but going, hey, but we're friends, so it's okay, isn't neutral. It is still against trans people.
What the fuck?
Yeah, which just prompted me to start joking that instead he's a dirty little chaser. I know I left Anna Marie Tendler for Olivia Munn, but what you don't know is I left her for T-girls on the internet. That's now my perspective. That's now who John Mulaney is.
Fuck.
People think I'm anti-trans, but I just love their body. I love to message, are you pre-op, to everyone I see on Twitter. John.
Michelle, let's can this episode. Let's just let you riff for about 40 minutes. I'll just sit back. I might just take a walk.
I was trying to watch The Devil Inside this week, but all I was thinking about was those beautiful trans bodies. I just want to see, I'm straight myself, but have you ever wanted to experiment? John, that's not what trans being, come on, that's not cool. No, Chappelle told me. The fucking worst. He wishes he could fuck us.
Losing Anna Marie was the worst thing that happened to that man. She kept him on the straight and narrow, all right?
We on this podcast have defended him. Fuck him. But hey, speaking of things we want to tell to fuck off, this week we watched The Devil Inside.
Yes, we did.
And look, let's get it out of the way. This movie is boring to a fault.
Oh, it's intimidating us.
Well, boring is usually a fault.
we've come into this podcast, this episode a little afraid.
Yeah.
Because what good can you pull out of this 90-minute atrocity?
We've watched with Paranormal Activity 4, we've literally watched movies where the majority of the runtime is empty rooms.
Yeah.
And somehow this was less dynamic and interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somehow this is easily like sometimes, we make a distinction of like, yeah, it's so bad it's good. It's a camp masterpiece, watch it. Sometimes it's like, yeah, I don't know, like Yogi Bear's a bad time, but maybe you'll be able to wring something silly out of it or whatever. This is like just sit and look at a wall.
Yeah.
This is just far more entertaining.
Oh my God. It was tedious as going light. It was intolerable. And you know me, all I care about is the tolerableness of these films.
Yeah.
And this was intolerable. It was difficult to watch. I had to keep stopping and starting. And that's just the sign of me struggling.
I tried to watch it, like, I had like kept having I was struggling to schedule in watching it, and then I like set aside time specifically, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and watch it. It'll be fine. I watch this movie and the next week's movie.
Yeah,
cool. And then I got 20 minutes in, and there's the bit where the mum like goes, ah!
Yeah,
and I was like, I said out loud, Jesus, and I turned it off. And I was like, I'll watch it tomorrow.
Yeah, there was a bit I have to say. You know how we get on the defense about. We watch all of these films and we watch the entire thing.
The entire thing.
I will concede. There was an exorcism scene, you know, and it was like the first time they try and perform an exorcism on the mum at the end, I think. And
the second time.
The second time.
The first time has the contortionist, and it's like closest thing I would describe to a better scene.
But it was the first time they did it on the mum.
Yeah,
at the end. And it was just so slow and painful to watch, and I was just waiting for the whole slow scream that she'd start emitting and her cracking her body around. I just got up and like made some food. I was like, I'll come back in 5 minutes, and sure enough, it was just still going.
You didn't miss anything.
I didn't miss anything.
You didn't miss
I know
anything.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I could just hear screaming from the other room as I was like cutting up a sandwich, you know?
Never has a horror movie been less scary.
Yeah.
Never has human suffering sounded less scary.
Yeah.
And less unpleasant.
I have a really big question to ask you, actually.
Yeah, sure.
The only funny thing or comical thing about this film is the text at the beginning and end. Mm-hmm. And at the beginning, it's just like, the Vatican had no hand or like gave no help to the making of this movie. And then at the end, they're like, visit rossifiles.com.
I've got a whole thing about that.
And I desperately want to know what the fuck www.rossifiles is.
I will get to that because there's less to go into. I'll just go into
you got to savor what
I'll go into the
got.
overview. Yeah. And because that's part of like a whole shtick, a whole thing.
All right. So you got something. You got a bit of meat.
I got a little bit.
Hey, there's been episodes where I've got nothing to work with. So I'm jealous.
I got at least 10 minutes. All we need is 40 more and we have a whole episode.
Listeners, I want you to know our process in that we watch the film, we do the research, and if it's like a good, juicy film, for me, I usually have about 3 to 4 pages of research. And it's like the overview, it's trivia, it's the reviews, it's everything together. But 3 or 4 pages, it's a pretty good meaty amount of stuff for a film. And there's been records where I've gone in with like less than 1 page. Yeah. So it sounds like you've got something.
I got something. I don't got nothing. So I'll go into the overview.
When I was in year 3, the Melbourne Cup was on and they thought it'd be cute for kids to gamble. And so what they did is that they let us put a bit of money on horses. And I chose the horse called You Ain't Seen Nothing because I thought it was a cool name. Came dead last.
I've told you about the time that my dad, not knowing how to bond with his child because as my therapist is pretty sure, I think he's autistic. And maybe they think that about me too. You know, he's trying to bond with his child.
I like how you've started calling yourself loosely neurodivergent.
Like it's one of them.
You're stepping a foot into this puddle just to see how.
Look,
it's like a foot in shallow water.
It's been variously diagnosed and undiagnosed as one of them. you know? So it's at least one.
Yeah.
But he took me to the horse races because he was like, this is what young children enjoy, is gambling at the horse races. And he gave me $50 and he was like, the rules are you can only bet maximum of $5 in each race to ensure that over 10 races, I'd be able to have fun gambling.
Yeah.
But I'm not giving you any more money after this, you know? And I took that $5 and he was mostly going based off of like talking to people, like vibes and stuff. I spent the whole time aggressively reading this like thick like pamphlet or novella of like every horse and their stats and what their rates were and like their stories so that I could understand it. And that first $5, I kept exploiting this thing where it's like, you're not betting based on the win, but you're betting on placing. I took that $5 and I wrote it the whole time to turn it into $60.
What?
So I handed him back the 45 and I ended with more and more. he, at the end, bitterly was like, you have to give me back the 45.
What?
Because I only spent $5 that day.
That's
not
that
50.
No. Fuck your dad. Fuck your dad.
And so if I never go again, I'm always up.
Yeah, there's never a decline. Well, my dad took me to the greyhounds because he was like a greyhound. Like he owned a greyhound called Graceful Jackie that raced.
Wow.
Yeah. And Graceful Jackie had a litter of little pups and he called them things like broken thong, leaking bathtub, rusty shower. But Graceful, so he was like a real greyhound guy and he took me to the track and he was like, place a bet on any greyhound you want. Like you can place the bet on my money. Like, cause he couldn't choose. He didn't know. And I chose the greyhound that was just number 8 because it was my lucky number and it fucking won, baby. My dad bought me so much Hungry Jacks.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, baby.
It's a good day for Abby.
Jackie was hungry that day.
It seems wrong to allow someone to bring your kids to the track. And I don't know why, because it's not like it's a dangerous place, but it is a very drunk place.
It's because gambling is a really weird thing and it creates this like incredible normalization of it when we go like, yeah, it's family, our children.
Yeah.
Come gamble.
And some people try
on
to
the
argue
animals.
being like, if you don't like the Melbourne Cup, then you're classist, all right? Because good true blue Australians like it. And I'm like, no, I'm fucking not. You guys can do anything you want, but that does not excuse the culture.
Insane given that
the Melbourne Cup.
The Melbourne Cup itself is the most like elite getting fucking wasted thing I've ever seen. It
endorses
so rich
animal
people.
cruelty. It also enables higher rates of domestic violence when men lose their money at the track and come home drunk.
Yeah.
I do not support that event whatsoever.
No.
And you cannot guilt me into coming around to it by telling me that I'm being classist by hating it.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Fully unhinged.
I don't hate it because it's full of bogans. I hate it because...
I mean, look, I hate it for all the animal abuse and the other reasons. I also hate it for the opposite. It's filled with rich people.
Yeah, well, it's filled with guys with skinny jeans and Taro Cash button-up shirts with like brown loafers, and they definitely gaslight their girlfriends.
Who also go like, no, I'm just an average Australian, all right? And they make like $200K a year.
Yeah.
So this is the overview.
All right.
Came out in 2012. The director was this guy, William Brent Bell, William Brent Bell.
Brent Bell.
Known for other movies like Stay Alive, The Boy, and Separation. All of the movies he's ever done are horror movies. I mentioned those 3 because they got good reviews. Okay. So he's not awful as a director.
All right.
This movie is not indicative of his overall talent, right? It's starring Fernanda Andrade and Simon Quarterman.
Was Simon Quarterman the really Anglo-looking guy? Like he looked like a little Irish nut job, but wasn't.
I can't believe I know who you mean. That's
he like looks distinctly Irish.
I cannot believe it. Well, I mean they're Catholic, you know. I cannot believe I know who you mean.
Is his name Simon Quarterback?
Quarterman.
Is he Irish?
I don't know.
Michelle, you call this research? Huh?
Well,
Nah?
I mean, for one thing, even if it says American, maybe he's still Irish. He's not American. Like he's not Native American. He's not Native. So I don't know. Even if I went onto his Wikipedia page and it says American, maybe he's still Irish.
Maybe he is.
You know? I don't know. I don't fucking know.
I'm kind of Irish. What's wrong with that?
Sure.
What's wrong with it?
I didn't say there was anything.
But
This almost made me sad. The budget was $1 million and it made $101 million.
Whoa. What the fuck? Who went to see this?
$100 million worth of people. Wow. It was extraordinarily profitable.
Wow.
And is literally one of a handful of movies, but I saw a couple of people in interviews talking about this directly as like changing somewhat the perspective, along with like Paranormal Activity, obviously, changing the perspective in executives. They used to just like dump all of their horror movies in January, so like just after Christmas, because that's like the dead season of like, well, I mean, if it can make $100 million, let's pump it at most profitable time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I guess this doesn't warrant it.
So
it's rare we have a movie on this list that I'm like, yes, I understand why this is as low as it is.
What year was it made, sorry?
2012.
2012?
Yeah.
Okay, that was quite a while ago. For some reason, I thought it was going to end up being some Netflix film.
No, no.
Okay, all right. That's an insane profit.
A crazy profit.
I can't keep $100 million spent on just being bored like we were, making a sandwich in the middle of an exorcism scene.
It's still one of the 4.2s, but like I said, like sometimes, like last week, we have movies where we're like, why is this so low? That's crazy. And sometimes we have movies and we're like, damn, like, yeah, these movies really are getting worse. Yeah. This is the worst movie so far.
Are you claiming that? You putting that on the table?
No, I'll come back to it.
But you think it's the worst film you've seen?
I don't know, because it's like also like movies like Black Christmas are being actively transphobic. So I don't know. Like this is just literally nothing.
I don't want to say looking past the transphobia.
Whoa.
But, no, wait.
Hey, I'm on your side here. Oh my God.
Do you agree, Chappelle?
I'm not going to do a Dave Chappelle impression.
No,
that's not going to happen.
No, I wouldn't ask you to.
It's just not.
I actually didn't ask you to do that. I would never ask you to do that.
I don't think it's my place.
No, I think that's fucked up. I actually think that's really fucked up. I never asked you to do that.
Here's the actual overview. 20 years after Maria Rossi murders 3 priests during a suspected exorcism, her daughter Isabella is making a documentary of the event to find out the truth. She and filmmaker Michael head to Rome and meet 2 priests in an exorcism class, Ben and David, who agree to help her. They go and see Maria, who is in a Catholic psychiatric hospital, whatever that is. After the encounter, they agree to exorcise Maria, but want Isabella to accompany them on a different exorcism first so that she can get more acquainted with the process. Following the first exorcism, David begins to have doubts, but is persuaded to continue to help. During the exorcism on Maria, however, she attempts to grab David and Isabella, but is seemingly stopped. Ben analyzes the audio of the event to send to the church to, I guess, get their retroactive permission, was all I could intuit, but realizes there was 4 demons inside of Maria. After David almost drowns a baby during a baptism, he realized he has been possessed, like he has somehow been possessed by Maria, but they fail to stop him before he is killed by the demon. Isabella immediately starts to have a seizure, showing that she is also possessed, and Ben and Michael take her to the hospital, but she begins to escape. They manage to take her back into their car and desperately drive off to get help for another exorcism. However, Isabella manages to send a demon into Michael instantly, who then crashes the car, killing them. A title card is shown saying the investigation is still ongoing and it just ends.
And it links you to www.rossifiles.com.
Yeah, you keen-eared listeners might notice I clearly barely understood what I was doing. Somehow I actually had less of a grasp than Highlander 2.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, never have I heard you sound so uncertain in an overview before. Ever. And it's like you were reading it, but you still couldn't comprehend it.
Well, because I was like,
how does that?
Is that what it?
My favorite is she immediately sends a demon into Michael.
Well, because what we actually see is that she just starts grabbing him in the face.
Yeah.
And then he looks sleepy.
Yeah.
And I guess that means he's possessed.
Well, I mean to never be grabbed in the face. Is that the normal transference of demons method?
It wasn't
face grab
earlier. Is the thing?
Yeah. How did she? How come? How did she? Wait.
Now you see why I was unsure. It's like, even if I know what happened, I'm like, wait, but that doesn't make sense.
Why can she now suddenly just control the method of it when before it was such a slow, painfully slow process? How come she can just shoot a demon into a guy all of a sudden?
Why does the demon go by touch? Also, she's already touching someone. Did it have to be on the face? I guess it's that I think it's that Maria had 4 demons. So it's meant to be like so we only exorcised 1 demon.
She's got 4 demons.
And she sent 2 into Isabella.
Does that mean she's got like 4 demons to spare? Like 4 free boxes you can refer to a friend?
It's like...
I'll give you a demon and you a demon and you get a free demon with 50% off demons.
I mean, this happened after that famous episode of Oprah.
Look under your chair, you get a demon.
I think it's that,
you all get a demon.
Maria had Maria inside of her and also 4 demons. And I think it's that they exorcised 1 demon, but she sent a demon into David and Isabella. But as we realize in this moment, she actually sent 2 into Isabella. So while she was fighting off Ben, she could shoot a demon into Michael.
Something that bothered me about this film. Many things bothered me about
this film. I was going to say one.
What really upset me was the body image stuff in the film.
Yeah, sure.
Like the fact that these women have to be exercised.
Yeah, it's weird that
that's diet culture. Yeah, gone crazy. All right. God. They look fine the way that they are. All right, they're beautiful. All bodies are beautiful.
It's terrible. There's fitness shakes.
Fucked up, man.
But I mean, if what they did is served if they dunked their little cross, that's
dunk their little cross
into
what kind of euphemism is that?
Fitness shake, wouldn't that be funny?
Michelle, hey buddy, come back to me. Hey, let me grab your face.
Oh my God.
Give me that face. It's me shooting a demon at you. Like Spider-Man.
Oh my God. I wanna create a little look. I'm not going to defend the Catholic Church in any way, but I want to say the particular way in which we're attacking the Catholic Church in this episode is based on how this movie is depicting the Catholic Church, which is, I would say, if you are a Catholic, weird.
It's just...
it's weird.
Okay, something I do actually genuinely say is that the audacity that some filmmakers have, this sounds cruel maybe, and I don't believe this for all tropes and genres, but why do people think that there's something more to tell with exorcism films? The whole thing with exorcism films is there's something spooky and demonic and supernatural and we've got to get it out. And there's, apart from The Exorcist, the OG exorcism film, what else have we been shown about exorcism?
Well, but also The Exorcist in part works because, like many great movies, it's not really about the exorcism.
Yeah.
The important part is that he is struggling with his faith even though he's a priest, and that's a huge part of his ability to perform or not perform the exorcism.
It's only about exorcisms.
Yeah,
there's no greater meaning in this film, and I mean that's the case with a lot of these films, but I'm you're not telling me anything about religion, about the possibility of supernatural elements, because you watch this film and you're why don't these people just believe in mental illness? Everything that she's doing just indicates mental illness.
Hey, no, look, you're saying this movie had no meaning, but it really had a lot to say on people with mental illness, such as when there was an interviewed person at the beginning who said, and I wrote this down, what caused her to do this? I went through the classic causes of human aggression: depression, schizophrenia, bipolar, and then it cuts to someone else. What the fuck? Those aren't the causes of aggression. What the fuck? That's such a weird thing to say.
As if depression causes aggression. That's depression causes naps.
As if it's the number 1 cause of aggression.
Depression causes naps. It causes a lot of naps. All right, it doesn't cause violence.
If we've learned anything from human history, it's that without depression, there would be no aggression in anyone.
Depression does lead to aggression.
It's so crazy.
But it's just I've never found exorcism anything very interesting, because you watch it and you're and this is my issue with philosophy. Which is I really need to start explaining myself here.
I want to add a little alarm sound or a horn or something because it's another one of Abby's bad takes.
Hey. Hey.
No, maybe it'll be a good take. I don't know. What's your problem with all philosophy?
No, just some philosophy.
Okay, that's better. That's much better than what you
Apart from most
started
philosophy
with.
being boring. And I can say that because my partner reads like Hegel for fun. So I've flicked through it. And it's
philosophy
shit.
text is dry.
Yeah, philosophy
It doesn't mean
text.
philosophy itself.
Let me say what I'm going to say.
Okay, say what you're going to say. Say what you're going to say. Speak your truth. Follow
on.
your bliss.
Please.
A philosopher wrote that.
Michelle, I'm trying to get there. My issue is that with exorcism, you watch it, and again, all I can think at least is this is based on, like, we started making films about it because there were accounts of people getting exorcised in real life because people truly thought that these mental illnesses were people being possessed. So it's not interesting watching a film about things that have clearly been debunked in real life. Like, that's not interesting to me, you know? The reason I linked philosophy to this is that sometimes I think about certain philosophical concepts. Like, my partner Claude likes to explore a lot of philosophical concepts that he knows inherently can't exist or happen, but he still gets value out of it.
Oh boy, so he loves Joe Rogan. Oh my God. Oh boy.
He still gets value out of it. You know, like there's a lot of philosophy about, you know, are we living in the right reality? Are we in reality itself? Or is this all an illusion in our minds? Do we exist within an actual fraction of our minds and that this world doesn't exist? Is
that solipsism or solipsism is the one where you think you're the only real person?
Yeah,
that's solipsism, yeah.
But
stupid.
He finds a lot of interest in exploring these concepts, even though he doesn't actually think it's real or like that they're right.
You sure?
He gets a lot out of that, but I don't, because every time I read shit like that, I'm like, what a fucking idiot. Of course we don't. And I like close the book. Like, I'm that kind of person where like I get no gain out of it. I'm like, nah. And I close it.
Oh, that's wrong.
Yeah. I don't open my mind. And so when I watch this film, I'm like, no, it isn't. And I close the book. Like, I'm like, my mind is closing the book. It's frustrating.
I'm somewhere in between. I like it for the same reason. This is a weird pull, but it's important for my professional career. Sometimes when I'm editing and I don't know what to do, I put in what I know won't work because I don't know what will work. So if I put in what won't work, I'll have a better understanding of why it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I think this is wrong, but it'll get me thinking about why it's wrong, and having to think about why it's wrong will make me better understand what isn't wrong, you know? And that's more interesting. I don't like just like, wouldn't it be interesting if the world was an oyster?
Yeah.
And I'm like, but it isn't, so it's not.
That's exactly it. I'm sick of reading these like possible theories where I'm just like, I don't have the time to try and even entertain this notion. Like, that
You're
is
too
not
busy.
Yeah.
You're
I'm a busy woman. All right.
Hey, you're walking in.
I got cats to feed. But yeah, I don't
That's
entertain it. And with this film, I was like, this isn't real. And maybe that's always my problem with horror films. Is that I'm like,
you watch fiction
there's no supernatural elements.
We watched like Doctor Who together. You watch a Doctor Who and
I've
he's
never
like
watched Doctor Who.
He's like, the flibbergabble. I'll get it with the sonic screwdriver. And you're like, that's fake.
No, I never. Fake.
Didn't happen.
That's bullshit. What do you think I am, stupid?
I'm a Time Lord. No such thing. That's
What an
you.
idiot.
That's you.
This guy thinks he's a Time Lord. No, I never watched Doctor Who. I was too busy getting pussy. Up top. Up top. Give me some pussy. No, wait, give me some head. No, wait.
And then the audience hears a wet squelch. And you're like, why is it so wet? Cut it. Play like a little audio thing. Oh yeah, it's like this is our 18 plus lounge.
So I just left to the TARDIS. No such thing. Doesn't exist.
Oh yeah. We were watching we were watching Back to the Future, and you were like, he was like, going back in time. You're like, can't go back in time. That's fake. I'm like,
all right, that's a good point.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is not even believed by you.
Hey, I'm a big enough woman. I'm 6 foot. I'm a big enough woman to admit that maybe for once in my life I'm wrong.
It's the first time you've been wrong on
maybe
a podcast.
the first time. It's weird. I'm a virgin to it.
I think audience, like we're almost 100 episodes in. Long-term listeners are
We've
familiar
been doing this for
at
100 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is our Sisyphean task, and we are trapped here. A quick thing that really bothered me was like some of the key art is this like nun with cloudy eyes, and I was like, oh, I guess she has the devil inside. I guess the implication to me of the key art, that's spooky. And then when we're watching the movie, it's just like establishing shots of Italy. I mean, it's Romania, but it's Italy and the Vatican. And then it's just like the camera guy is walking and there's a group of nuns, and then one of the nuns turns around and she has cataracts, so her eyes are cloudy, and then that's it. I'm like, that's just a woman with cataracts. That's not spooky. That's a real thing that happens to people. What the fuck?
Pretty fucking spooky, in my opinion. That was the spookiest bit of the whole film.
The spooky when you saw a woman with cataracts?
Yeah.
That was the spookiest bit?
It's like when, like you see a little kitty and it's blind and its eyes are all like foggy. The little foggy glazed over eyes.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it's not
so cute.
It's not spooky.
No, when
it's like when we're watching The Grudge and there's like a little girl has a nosebleed. It's like, yeah, little girls get nosebleeds.
Wipe it up.
That's just a normal.
And I'm like, fake. Girls don't get nosebleeds.
Yeah, you were watching the movie. You were watching The Grudge. Fake.
Fake. I do. Look, I'm gonna own this. I did spend 5 minutes ranting that I hated when movies are fake and lie to me about things that can't happen.
I was waiting for you to finish. I didn't want to interrupt because I was like, this is just.
All right. That does. Cue the music. Abby's bad takes.
Yeah, you were so against it, but yeah.
You humored me and you're like, maybe it'll be good. No, it was fucking shit.
Before we move on, I'll just get into like trivia. Before we do, I do want to say one thing in this movie's defense.
Yeah.
Because we've had this like discussion, and honestly, a couple of people have reached out on different sides of our found footage argument.
Yeah.
I mean, this is still technically it's a found footage film. It's not. It's a mockumentary.
You're so bitter.
It's a mockumentary. It's not found footage. No one found it. It's a mockumentary.
When Michelle gets bitter, her shoulders go up really high. Like she really tenses.
They don't.
And she really gesticulates a lot.
To be fair, I gesticulate a lot when I'm really happy to. I'm a gesticulating queen.
Queen.
Anyway, I think mockumentary is more interesting as a format than found footage for horror.
It is.
Spooky doco is like Blair Witch Project is found footage, and then everything else is like, what if found footage was worse?
Yeah.
It's like without just repeating it, it's not a genre to be plumbed. But spooky doco, hell yeah, give me some. Give me a good spooky doco.
It was a mockumentary.
Yeah.
It was. And it is far more interesting than just the gallows style found footage.
Oh my God. This is just squandered so hard though. But the gallows at least had a really silly, stupid monster at the end.
Charlie.
Oh yeah, Charlie Gallows, as we kept calling
Charlie Gallows.
Tied for second in the... Let me go to trivia.
All right.
Okay, so I got a couple pieces of trivia, but I also got, this is one of the ones where some of it is just like explaining about it, right? So the genesis for this film happened in 2005 as writer Matthew Peterman read about the Vatican's actual school of exorcism and approached director William Brent Bell on exploiting that. The duo wrote a traditional script, however, they eventually, according to Peterman, got frustrated with that process, so they rewrote to a mockumentary style following a suggestion from the producer.
Right.
I wonder what they found in this movie that I would say barely utilizes the doco format. What frustrated them about writing a script? Maybe they kept writing the script and it wasn't very good.
Yeah. Maybe they should have gone to school for that. Or got someone that went to school for that. Fucking assholes.
Well, I don't know about Matthew Peterman. Maybe he did and he just didn't do very good.
You can hire writers, right? If you make a bad script, get a writer.
Hey, don't tell that to...
Here's a little tip. If you're a director and you want to make a movie and you're writing a script and you're like, I'm not very good at this, hire a writer. Don't keep going. You're not good at it. Hire me.
Yeah. Hey,
this is my ad.
It's a genuine tip to directors.
Shit.
Genuine tip to directors, both that I've taught, but like anyone, you don't have to be good at all of it. You can't, like Scorsese works with writers.
Yeah.
He doesn't write all of them.
Yeah.
It's fine. I know Tarantino writes them. Also, though, he had a fantastic editor.
Yeah.
And plenty of other people in the process.
Yeah. It's okay if you're not also a writer. Just get a writer.
I know you love that Nolan writes and produces as well, but guess what? He's neither the only writer nor the only producer.
Or even just at least get a script editor. I mean, I can edit your script, but I will read it saying, fake. Yeah, it's made up.
Yeah, all your notes are like...
That doesn't happen.
That's not real. That's fake.
Where's the evidence?
Principal photography began in 2010 in several locations, including Bucharest in Romania, Rome, which this that I ripped from specified Italy, and Vatican City. The film is of the found footage genre and is shot in docu style despite being fictional. Lorenzo di Bonaventura and Steven Schneider took the movie to Paramount Pictures, who ultimately produced it through their low-budget company Insurge Pictures, who acquired the film as their first release, hoping it would replicate the success of Paranormal Activity. And I guess that paid fucking dividends. Holy shit. Like, they were right. This movie sucks, but they were right. If you're going to pick a movie to launch your production company with, do the one that cost $1 million and made 99 more.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
100 more.
Well,
it made 101 million.
Yeah, you're right. God damn it.
It made 100 times its profits.
There was as many Dalmatians as there were millions. Why? Okay.
That didn't deserve such a large chuckle. You know what? That's fake. I don't believe it.
They can't have that many Dalmatians.
That's too many Dalmatians.
What I like about this is that we're intentionally doing not quite a Donald... Like, it's not Donald Trump.
No, because I don't have the skill for Donald Trump.
And also because I don't think we want to summon that into our podcast.
No, I don't even remember what he looks like.
This is just New York Bozo.
Yeah. This is just me, all right? What do you think I am, stupid?
Well, it's when you're taking off your show voice.
Yeah. All right, Michelle. That's pretty good. See ya.
Let's get the recording.
This is Rating Descending.
Here's another one. The ending of the film drew particular criticism for its lack of resolution and URL stunt. The writers defended themselves by saying that they knew the unconventional closure would draw criticism, but felt authentic to us, as according to co-writer Matthew Peterman, sometimes real life doesn't follow a perfect structure. Things aren't always wrapped up and resolved when or how you'd like them to be. All of us enjoyed leaving things open-ended. We thought it was visceral. We thought it was unique. Director William Brent Bell added that the title card directing to a website was added by Paramount, given they thought it was kind of cool to continue the story on this website. And I can't think of maybe like a worse reason to just not finish your script.
Does authentic mean lazy these days? Is that what you mean? Because I have to say, something that often happens when I watch these films is that it finally ends and I go, oh, Jesus, and I close my laptop. But this one where they just crashed, and it went to black and it ends, my reaction was, wow, and then I closed my laptop, which means it's really bad.
I hate that, like, sometimes real life doesn't follow a perfect structure, you know? It doesn't, like, it's more real that it's not resolved. I'm like, yeah, but it's not real. It's a movie, isn't it? It's a movie. Like, it's a story. You're telling a story and you didn't finish it.
Yeah.
You know, the 70s, they knew how to end a movie all of a sudden. I talk all the time about The French Connection, where literally Gene Hackman, he's like barely solved the case and it's like really muddy and incomplete. And he's like, hey, you. And he runs off camera and then we hear gunshots and then it goes to black. And you're like, what? Huh? But it's fucking evocative. It's powerful. The 70s knew how to just... Dog Day Afternoon as well feels like it's building to a climax. It finishes
so quickly.
And then it feels like it's building to this whole sequence of either like, are they going to make it? Are they not? And then without spoiling, everything shakes down in like 20 seconds. And it feels...
They shoot Sal through the head. They arrest him. They push him against the bonnet. You see the survivors like saying goodbye to him and getting pushed into like police cars to be taken home. And it's just him looking at the tarmac and then the credits start rolling.
Yeah.
It's just over. And the thing is, but it doesn't feel incomplete.
It doesn't at all.
I remember finding out when I was trying to write my own action film last year, that final like last eighth of the film.
Yeah.
And I like to split films into eighths. The final eighth of the film, the climax of the film should, especially if it's an action film, you shouldn't really take the time to like go home afterwards and ruminate. Like once it's over, it's over. Like if it finishes on the tarmac, the movie finishes on the tarmac.
Yeah.
You don't go home and he doesn't make a cup of tea.
One thing that fucking bummed me about, I remember years ago when I was reading The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which, you know, I thought it was going to be bad because, I don't know, when something is like so hyped, you kind of think it's going to be bad. Yeah. Everyone talked about The Da Vinci Code. That's not a great book.
Hey.
It's not a great book.
Hey.
He's written better books.
I'm not supporting the book, actually. I'm supporting the movie. Because the movie, good fun.
Sure.
When I was a kid and it was on
okay.
free-to-air TV, I was like, fuck yeah. It had the same feeling as like National Treasure, but not as good.
It's just the way it was talked about. They were like, it's not a masterpiece. It's fun. But like, I thought Girl with the Dragon Tattoo was going to be worse. That's a pretty propelling book. It was really great. And then it ends. And then there's just so many more. There's so many more pages. I'm like, there's 2 characters. You're solving it. You've already solved the mystery.
We're done.
Why?
Wrap it up.
There's like 100 more pages. Like, what are you doing? It was just so boring. It was
Wrap
just like,
it up, Bozo.
Just rip it out. Finish it there.
Hey,
you know?
I've got a pitch. Let's bring
sure.
back Bozo. We should call each other Bozos. Wrap it up, Bozo. Hey, Bozo. What do you think? Do you like it? Hey, Bozo.
I don't know. I feel like it fills a niche that Jabroni already fills much more interestingly.
No, Bozo's different.
Hey, Jabroni.
Bozo's like old-timey. Just say it. Like,
I
try it.
don't like hey, I mean, I called you a bozo before. I was
be
like,
afraid.
you're
Call
doing
me
an
a
impression of
bozo.
a New York bozo. I don't like hey, bozo.
No, come on, call me a Bozo. Come on, it feels good.
Hey, bozo.
Yeah, that's
No,
good.
I don't like it.
No, you sound sick.
I don't like I don't know enough about like grammar terms. Like, I don't like it as like a person. I like it as like not you. Hey, bozo. I like it as you're a bozo, like a descriptor.
Why you gotta shoot me down?
You asked for my opinion, man, and I gave it.
I feel like such a bozo.
I see. I like that. That's great.
I feel like a bozo.
That's
man.
great. Use
But
that.
not like a cool New
All right.
York.
Use that and action.
I feel like such a fucking schmuck, man. I'm a fucking bozo.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
What do you want from me, man?
I didn't say go again. Okay.
You didn't say cut.
That's true. All right. Cut. Yeah. Sorry.
Terrible directing.
Sorry. Don't use that. I was talking the whole time. I got some more pieces of trivia, but they're smaller.
Okay.
Hey, Maria's murder trial footage is actually from the trial of real serial killer Eileen Wernos, who was depicted in Monster.
From the Florida, the Florida woman that killed.
Yeah, she
man.
was depicted in that movie Monster with Charlize Theron.
I never watched it.
It's a pretty good movie.
Wow, that's cool.
Also, a weird thing to do, I think, is to just show.
Hey, what's she gonna do about it?
Yeah, that's true.
Bozo.
I liked this because it's maybe the most pedantic I've ever seen a goof correction on IMDb.
People that write goof corrections on
but
IMDb.
especially like
seedy.
the disparity between pickiness and the quality warranted by this movie is so high. During the 1989 flashback, the CSI agent is using a Bic ultrasound round stick grip pen to point out features in the crime scene, a ballpoint pen that would not be created for over a decade.
Fuck off. You know what that guy is? Because I know it's a guy that wrote that. He's a fucking bozo, all right? He's a fucking idiot. He's a fucking schmuck.
He's my hero.
No, don't reward people living their lives this way, all right? Let these things fly, man.
To end with our favorite piece of trivia, not screened for critics. Do you want to hear some reviews? So 5% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like I said before, we're still in the 4.2s. It received
5% on Rotten Tomatoes is fucking low.
It also, notably, apparently, received an F from Cinema Score, which tracks audience reaction. And as of April 2020, which apparently was the last time it was updated, it is one of only 22 films to receive such a rating.
F is low, and I love the fact that $101 million worth of people were like, boo. Like, that was terrible.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like some audiences liked it, but the critics hated it. It's like everyone hated it.
Stephen Whitty of the Star Ledger.
Oh, he better live up to his name.
Said, after the Blair Witch Project got by with sticks and stones and off-screen noises, filmmakers started thinking they didn't have to show anything. Well, no. It's better when you don't show too much, but if your story is about the supernatural, eventually you're going to have to come up with something. The devil inside can't. Here's an IMDb review. And it's shockingly on theme for what we were talking about. Best possession movie since The Exorcist by Jed Mears. Are we living in such a jaded time that we don't know a good horror movie when we see it? One reviewer said we've seen it all before. What did he expect? It's a movie about possession. Possession cases do tend to exhibit the same behaviors. Contorted body, speaking in different voices / language, violence, etc. The Exorcist is my favorite movie of all time. There has never been another movie on demonic possession that even comes close to capturing the terror that this movie brought to theaters in the 70s. The Devil Inside, though not as good as The Exorcist, was pretty damn frightening. Horror movies these days tend to be tongue-in-cheek in an effort to pander to the jaded crowd. The Devil Inside is dark and takes itself seriously, which is probably why people didn't get it. 10 out of 10. Yeah, take that, jaded crowd.
Yeah.
And here's another one. Genuinely Horrifying by CKINAIR 205. CK in air 205.
CK's in air.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. CK is that. Well, it's INN. So CK is the in that is in the air.
Right. CK in. Okay, right. Yeah.
205.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
I'm glad we decoded that one.
The Devil Inside is a brilliant horror film. It's based on a young woman who wants to find out what happened at her mother's exorcism, in which she is taken into the world of people haunted by the spirits themselves. It is honestly a brilliant film. The ending is really good, regardless of what people have to say, as it ends at a cliffhanger. The infrequent gory moments are very disturbing.
Hey, wait, a cliffhanger is not they all die. A cliffhanger is will they die?
Yeah, it's not a cliffhanger. It just ends.
It's just an ending.
We actually know exactly what happened. The infrequent gory moments are very disturbing. The images of the dead people are in fact probably the most horrifying I've ever seen in a horror film since 2008. I don't know what came out in 2008. This is what makes it one of the best horror films ever to be made. It's worth the £10 and it's worth waiting for the torrent to download. It is truly a sensational film and very scary. It takes a lot for me to say this, but it is one of the most disturbing films since The Exorcist, and it fits in increasingly well with the genre. Trust me, it's worth every penny. 10 out of 10. Every penny, including 0 pennies, because you torrented it.
It's worth the £10 and the torrent. You got a bad torrent, man. Shouldn't be paying for that torrent.
But hey, that's just what these guys thought. Abby, what was your review?
Fake. I think it was just all made up.
It was all made up.
Shit. Doesn't happen. No such thing.
Abby only watches documentaries.
My favorite film is March of the Penguins. That definitely happens. One. How about you? It's just not worth commenting on. It's a 1.
Yeah, it's I will say, there was one for the first exorcism that we see. They got a real life contortionist. Yeah. So she was really quite contorted.
She was cool.
That was neat. And if 2 is my threshold for is a movie, this is probably a 0.
This is a pretty monumental day.
It's pretty.
Is this the first 0 you've... No, it can't be.
I think I gave at least one other 0.
I think you've given 1 0 before. This might be just your second 0.
It's pretty... It almost takes its own talent to make a movie that is so devoid of interest or spectacle that other movies that have completely still rooms are actually more interesting.
Yeah.
It truly is nothing of a film. If you just sat there thinking with your eyes closed,
you'd have a better time.
Oh my God. Although that's true of anything that makes you feel actively bad.
Yeah.
It's in a way it almost didn't make me feel actively bad. It made me feel actively nothing.
Disassociated.
Yeah.
Nice.
Maybe
you got possessed.
Rarely have I ever had to more actively focus on a film.
Did someone try grabbing your face? Because, I don't know, maybe a little demon's got shut in there.
Fake. Doesn't happen.
No such thing.
But, hey, that was a pretty good time that I had. If you had a good time, you could come and follow us and keep having the fun. keep that fun train rolling. On Twitter at RateDescendPod or on TikTok at RatingDescending. Or you could email us at ratingdescending@gmail.com. I love reading out the emails. Please email us. I love it. I really built to something and I didn't have an ending. I should think about it.
I was about to say something inappropriate, but I didn't. That's growth. All right?
Were you gonna say you're gonna send TDs back?
I was gonna say no, I'm not gonna say it. I'm a big girl now.
You're gonna poopy on the floor?
Maybe I already did.
There's a reason we don't charge.
You will never have to pay for this content. We can guarantee. Or you can find us on our personal accounts. I'm on Instagram under Abigail J. Ward.
Or you could find me on both Twitter and Instagram at Michelle.St. Clair.
And And please, pretty please, drop us a review on anywhere you get your bloody podcast. If it's on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, give us a little 5 stars. Give us a little nice comment. Say, they're so sexy and funny. And I love it when Abby poo-poos on the ground. Oh, I go with a baby.
Oh my God, wait, I can hear something. Oh my God, it's all the 5 stars turning into 4s or 3s. But, you know, that was a really great time. That was The Devil Inside. What are we watching next week, though?
Well, Michelle, next week we're watching Area 51.
Hey. I assume this is a hardcore documentary about when we famously all stormed Area 51.
Well, it's the sequel to Area 50.
Yeah, guys, we're going to really have to catch up on the Area films.
Yeah, we've got a lot to watch.
I'll see you, I'll see
you in 2 months.
In like 2 months, yeah. Sorry, guys, we're on break.
Sorry.
Summer's out. Wipe out.